Selling is not hard. It may feel hard, but it's not when you follow this ABC framework that I'm about to give you. If you're not closing at least 40% of your sales or higher, then this video is for you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Parker. I'm the founder and CEO at Leadline. We're an agency that does like marketing and AI for a lot of different brands. And so we get to do a lot of sales audits for teams that are on the ground nationally for a lot of major chains. And we see the gamut. Everything from like really good top level salespeople to inexperienced beginners that don't really have a sales background, especially working with a lot of like franchises. It's great. You are made a wise decision by buying a franchise. If you buy a franchise, you get a business in a box, if you will, with systems in place, which is great. But a lot of times, maybe you're coming over from a different career. Maybe you were an engineer or an attorney or a teacher, and you don't have a lot of sales experience. And so one thing that I want to do is help you is realize you can develop this skill. You don't have to be a born salesperson, but it's an important skill, an extremely important skill for you to develop because your business will depend on it. And if you're going to hire great salespeople, you won't know if they're great until like 3-4 months of them doing the job, unless you're really good at sales, right? And you've learned it yourself. So as the owner, as management, I highly recommend that if you're not closing 40, 50% or higher of your sales, this video is for you. So watch this video to the end. And I've got a couple pro tips I want to share with you too. So stick around. All right, so first things first, ABC. What does ABC stand for? I'm just going to give it to you right here. A is about, B is benefit, C is close. And it's not what you think. Stick around. I'm going to share with you. So A is the about, okay? One of the mistakes that I see a lot of beginner salespeople make is they are all about their product, their service, their features, their facility, what they have to offer. I hate to break it to you, but nobody cares. Man, listen, let me just share this with you, okay? Visualize a circle, and you're in the middle of that circle. And the sale getting closed is with you in the middle of that circle. Your prospect is outside the circle. The more you talk, the more you push. The more you listen, the more you pull. And your goal and mission throughout this process is to be curious enough to ask a lot of really good questions to learn about your prospect, to pull them into the circle with you instead of trying to push them in, because it ain't going to work. You're going to push them out. So the reality is, see a lot of this. The mistake is, if I'm going to sell, I have to talk more, and I have to be persuasive, and I have to be convincing, and I have to talk. I had a guy, oh my goodness. I had a guy who owned a small little painting company, and he was referred to us. He came over to do some painting at the house, and he walked in and he was desperate for work. He made it very clear he was desperate for work, and I could smell commission breath all over him because all he would do is sell. The first 10 minutes, I didn't get a word in. And all he wanted to do was sell, painting every other room in the house and the ceilings, and it didn't need it. He was desperate. And you could feel the desperation, and he was pushing so hard and doing so much selling and so much talking. He was just vomiting words. And I was like, bud, relax. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. I didn't say that. I wanted to teach him how to sell, but I didn't have time for that either. But if he would have came in and just asked, hey, tell me more about the project. How can I help you? What's important to you? And just really started to be curious on what I wanted and what was important to me, that conversation would have gone a lot better. So the reality is the A is about them, about the prospect, and it's not about your business, and it's not about you, and it's not about your offering. Think of it this way. Try to spend like 80% of your time on that portion of the sales process. So let's say a total sales conversation takes, let's just say 15 minutes. You should spend anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes on that portion of the conversation. If it's 30 minutes, you should spend like 20 minutes or more on that part of the conversation. And it's not complicated. The simplest way to think about it is just be curious, right? When you really care about people, and this is another mistake I see beginner salespeople make, is they don't care about the prospects enough. That's less common than it is. More often than not, people do care. But when you really care, you're going to be curious. Think about when you first start dating somebody. When you first start dating, I've been married for 23 years now. I remember I still do this a lot. I'm very intentional about this. My wife will tell you. But when we go to dinner, I'm very curious. I'll ask questions. How are you doing? How are things? What are your thoughts on this? And when you first start dating somebody, you're very curious. You're going to ask them so many questions because you want to get to know them. You want to get to know their life story. You want to get to know more about what makes them tick and what's important to them and what their interests are and things like that. Now, I'm not saying do all of that in the sales process. That would be a little crazy. But the reality is you need to be curious. And if you are curious, it'll make that piece of the equation feel so organic and natural and easy. Real quick, if you're getting some value out of this, hit that subscribe button. Let's get back to it. So be curious, ask questions like, why are you interested in what we have to offer? What brought you in? Why is this important to you? What is the outcome you're looking to get out of it in the future? Oh, really? Tell me more about that. Peel the onion. Get to know the person in front of you and find out why it's important to them. I'll give you a quick example. So, for example, we work with a lot of fitness companies, kids gyms, studios. So let's use the kids gym example. So if you own like a children's program, kids gym, like a gymnastics center or whatever, you're talking to the parent, you can ask them questions like, hey, mom, your daughter, Emma here, you're bringing her into our facility. Why were you interested? And then mom will say, well, she'll give you a superficial answer at first. Mom will say, well, it just looked interesting. I thought she might want to try it. Right. There's more to it than that, right? So we want to peel that onion. Okay, great. Yeah, we're excited for Emma to try it and see if this is the right fit for her. And we want to make sure it's the right fit for you and her. And so I want to learn a little bit more. Tell me what Emma's like. What's her personality like? How is she active at home? Walk me through that. And then you learn about Emma. And so, okay, tell me why, if we had a magic button, I pushed that button and 6 months to a year from now, Emma got exactly out of this program what you're hoping she would get out of it. What would that look like? Well, Emma would probably be more socially confident, less shy. She would obviously build a lot of gymnastic skills, maybe increase her athleticism, balance, and flexibility. And she'd develop some friendships along the way. And this would really prepare her for going into kindergarten next year. Boom. Now you understand why they're in front of you, right? And so that's what the goal is just to be curious, to find out what is going on in the prospect's mind, what pain points are they dealing with right now, what are they trying to solve for, and what's the outcome that they're looking for. Paint that brighter future. Like, what is the future they're looking for, and visualize it and let them paint it. You don't paint it, let them paint it by asking good, intelligent questions, being curious. Okay, so that's A. Spend more time listening than talking. Remember, pulling versus pushing. So B is benefits. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes that I see over and over and over again, I see this on the marketing side of things, I see this on the sales side of things when we're doing sales audits, is that the salesperson is selling all of the amenities and the programs and the administrative logistics of what the program entails. Like, this gives you this many classes, or this gives you this access, or this gives you this. And while that's important to some degree, and you have to know the details of what you're actually getting from that aspect of it, you're still buying the benefits, right? You join a gym, you're buying more than access. You're buying a better future. You're buying a future healthier self. You're buying more energy. You're buying discipline because it's close enough to the house to where it's convenient, and you feel like you can get there 3 or 4 days a week and build new habits that are going to give you a better future with better health and keep you out of the hospital and lower your blood pressure and your cholesterol. And those are the benefits, right? So you want to think about the fact that when you're selling your programs and you've listened to your prospect, and you've really uncovered the emotional reasons, their why, what's important to them, you take those and you see, does it fit into what we have to offer? And if it does, put your expert hat on, and at that point, you're going to tie them back into the programs that you're selling or whatever it is you're selling and say, the benefits are going to come from these programs, and you're going to sell the benefits and not the features and the amenities. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Once you've done that, you've basically taken what they want, fit it into exactly what you're selling, and then making a professional recommendation on C, on closing, asking for the sale. I can't tell you how often I see the two extremes of like closing from the very beginning. And I'm like, relax, man. You don't even know what I want. And then the other extreme is they're so nervous when the money comes up, they don't even ask for the sale. A lot of sales audits in the last couple of years. And we have had so many where they get to the point where they show the programs and they just like panic and they bail and they're like, all right, just let us know what you think. And they almost walk away and the person's ready to buy and they're just walking away. So ask for the sale. C is for closing. Ask for the sale. Don't be intimidated. Be confident about it. So here's a pro tip. Being desperate or being underskilled at first, is going to make the process a little bit janky and feel kind of off. But the better you get at it, the more seamless and fluid and organic and natural it becomes. And one of the biggest things here is that you have to believe in what you're selling. And the way that you do that and build conviction is really two ways. One is read all the positive reviews of the positive impact you're making on the people that have bought from you in the past. And read those over and over and over again on a regular basis. Number two, have daily little huddles for 10 minutes with your sales team or with whoever's selling and list out all the different benefits. I didn't say features or amenities, benefits of how you're helping people, of how you're making a real positive impact on the people that are buying. In those huddles, you can highlight somebody that bought and has had a positive outcome and really talk about them and like, hey, remember John and how much it changed his life. And that's what we're doing. We're helping people. We're changing lives. We're making people's futures better no matter what you're selling. So that's how you build conviction. The sales process is listening, but it's also a transfer of enthusiasm. If you have a deep conviction and belief in what you're selling, that transfer of enthusiasm will make a difference throughout the process. So I hope this helped. Go practice, role play, do this over and over again, and we'll see you in the next video.